happening, gang? It's your boy Retro back again with another reaction video. Yeah. Today we got another huge update. You guys could probably already tell it is going down just by that title alone. Definitely gonna want to see this one as we got that Fox News The 5 host Jessica Tarlov back at it again, guys. It seems like ever since the election, her Trump derangement syndrome has just ramped up into full effect. No different in this segment, guys. She's getting ready to get kicked off the show, Fox News The 5. I'm excited to get into it, so I'm not straight into it. Make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Before we even get into it, y'all, hit that like button, also hit that subscribe button for your boy. And without further ado, let's jump straight into it, folks. Check this one out.
Greg, how do you think the Democrat Party's autopsy is going?
Well, first of all, the media is like the creep that's responsible for the disappearance of his spouse, but then volunteers to lead the search party. You know, in this case, it's a disappearance of truth, and they lied about everything, but they're offering their help, you know, to expose the suspects, comb the fields, put flyers up on telephone poles. But the jig is up. It's not about left or right anymore. We know that you're the real killer, OJ. It's the media that fed the hoaxes, that created this complete, I don't know, mental breakdown. Identity politics has to go, but it has this permanent flaw. It can only work by telling you who isn't included as it tells you who is. When you look at the people that are important, it creates a hierarchy and it pisses people off. In this case, it was black men, Hispanic men. So how do you rectify this when you've raised a generation on basically junk food for your soul? It's toxic. I mean, you have to admit, if you abandon it, you're going to lose a faction. But you know that it's a small faction. This is the Band-Aid that you actually have to pull off. And once you pull it off, you're going to feel so relieved to get that out of your system. You're going to be so happy. Life is going to be great because people that focus on their identity, they're miserable people. They can't see outside themselves. I have a theory. I think that everybody should be grateful that Donald Trump lost in 2020 because you could not have Trump now in this enhanced position. The 4-year gap eliminated a sophomore slump and made him stronger. Like it's the studies on delayed gratification where they offer a kid a cookie. You can have a cookie now or a cookie in 20 minutes, 2 cookies in 20 minutes. The Democrats took the 1 cookie. Trump got the 2, right? And when you delay gratification, you get a renewed and increased appreciation for the object of desire. And what you didn't like about it in the beginning fades away. It's the rear view mirror effect. You know, fondness replaces fear. And most of all, you avoided this 6-year itch. It happens with every incumbent. And in those last 2 years, it's all hell. Happened to Reagan. It happened to Bush. It might have happened to Clinton. But it's not going to happen to him because he basically stepped out of the room and he allowed a comparison to take place between his policies, which a lot of people missed, and the woke path. And all he had to do was sit out and watch everybody go, you know, things weren't so bad. Now he's surrounded by an incredible group of independent minds. He's no longer beholden to any behavior, any advice from insiders, because now he's got these smart people. So now the chaos is now faded from 2016. It is an incredible thing. This might be a perfect 4 years for a president, a beginning and an end without incumbency.
Let's lower expectations, Greg.
Yeah, let's lower expectations. I'm excited though. I'm optimistic about Trump's next 4 years to see what he gets done. The way Greg explains it, we did get that side-by-side comparison, what the left was able to do for 4 years versus what Trump was able to get done his first term, guys. I'm excited to see what he does on his second term in office, guys.
And I think Clinton's was a different type of 6-year itch.
Yes, you're right. Good point.
I'm going to try that cookie game with Jesse Jr., though, and let everybody watching know how he does. Dana, the money that's missing, it's not a little amount of money. If you were a donor, you'd probably be asking questions, too.
Well, there's the big donors that gave a ton of money, but the amount of small dollar donations that they were asking for before the switcheroo, when like George Clooney knew that Joe Biden wasn't in any condition to do another 4 years. They were telling everybody that he could and saying, hardworking people, please send us $150, $50, $20. Cat lovers for Biden. And then you get to somebody like Oprah. I think this is astounding. So Oprah for the first time in her life, decided to endorse a candidate, decided to go to a convention, decided to give that big speech, and then you find out that this billionaire made them pay $1 million. So you have all of these small donors who are building a set for Oprah for an interview that didn't get them anywhere down the field. It's
all these folks that are crying, all the libs that have been crying on my timeline lately should be outraged. They should be in full rage mode about the way they've been robbed blind by the Kamala Harris campaign, sending $1 billion over to a billionaire Oprah. It just does not make sense, folks. They should be upset. They're upset at the wrong thing right now. I'll tell you that right now.
So you have all of these small donors who are building a set for Oprah for an interview that didn't get them anywhere down the field. It's absolutely appalling. Yeah. And I do think that the Democrats, having looked at it over the weekend, I was getting sick of it. They're just overthinking it and underthinking it, and they're overlooking the obvious. 20 years of bad policy positions in the Democratic Party led to this moment where they said that they were going to go middle of the road. That's what Joe Biden said. That's not what they did. And Ron Klain gave them progressives everything that they wanted, the Inflation Reduction Act. You had Larry Summers saying, guys, that's going to cause inflation. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about, economists from the left. You have no idea. That's who that was. It wasn't like Larry Kudlow saying it, although he was saying it too. So then they get what they were asking for, and then they want to blame the podcasts. It is really incredible. And I'm here to watch all of it, of course. It's fine for me to sit there and do that. But I would end on this. 60 Minutes had this interview last night with Scott Pelley asking people who had voted Democrat for many, many years, who then switched and voted for Trump this year. And one of them owned a diner. And the question was, what was happening for you? Because the economy, it was improving. Inflation is down, and that wasn't enough for you? And she's like, yeah, we didn't feel that at all.
And that was a huge point right there that I feel like the entire Kamala Harris campaign just missed the mark as far as hitting the voter demographic. They kept trying to push the narrative to say inflation is down. Are you guys not satisfied? You're not happy with what direction we're taking this economy? We're looking around. Everyone's like, we don't feel that at all. You know, you go to the grocery store, you go to pay your bills, you go to the gas station, and we're like, prices are ever rising. I'm not sure inflation is actually down.
And she's like, yeah, we didn't feel that at all. And to me, that's just why they're overthinking it. Like, this is what it was. And the voters were telling us this for 3 years.
What are your friends telling you, Jessica?
I'm sad. Cry emoji. My emoji game has been relegated to one little aspect of the board the last few days.
And they're sad about the wrong thing, guys. They need to be sad about the way they were robbed blind by the Kamala Harris campaign, and they still went bankrupt somehow, $20 million. I mean, what's going on there?
Been relegated to one little aspect of the board the last few days. I have had some great exchanges with your mother, though. I'll tell you about those in the break.
Oh, please don't.
The autopsy continues, and there are many facets to it. The fundamental principle of it, or the backbone of it, is we're supposed to represent the working class, and we didn't in this election. They told us resoundingly, you don't represent my interests this time around, and that wasn't the way it was supposed to go when you looked at measures like who people think represents folks like me. Kamala was doing better than Donald Trump on that. So obviously there was some kind of disconnect. And
No, there was no disconnect. And she's referring back to the polls and the surveys that she was quoting all throughout campaign season, guys. We kept trying to tell her those polls and those surveys are coming from, left-wing outlets, and they may not represent what the true American people are feeling.
Kamala was doing better than Donald Trump on that. So obviously there was some kind of disconnect. And I do think that there were policy issues, but I think there was more of a tone issue than anything. There was a voter talking about how she thinks about the two parties and needed to give a word to describe each. And she called the GOP crazy, and she called the Democrats preachy.
Yeah.
And she said that preachy actually made her feel bad about herself. And this is a theme that we're hearing over and over again, and that's what Maher was communicating in his remarks.
It was a little bit of both, guys. It was, a lot of bit of both. It was the lack of policies and the constant preaching and down talking of others. That's what ultimately led to the result that we've seen.
And this is a theme that we're hearing over and over again, and that's what Maher was communicating in his remarks. I've spent some time looking at races that were successful, Democratic races. And we should note Dems managed to hold 4 of 5 swing Senate seats. Like Jackie Rosen got 70,000 votes that Kamala Harris didn't get. That's pretty astounding in this kind of environment. But Pat Ryan, who's an upstate New York congressman, I think he won by 13 points. And he talked about what he did. And he said, basically, I ran without labels. I campaigned with AOC when it made sense to be with AOC, who, by the way, has a huge crossover with Trump in her district, where people say, basically, you fight for people like me. I don't care what your party, your political party is for this. And I think we could learn a lot from that. In terms of the media ecosystem, I do think this issue is important, not only as part of the media, but to consider the fact that the podcasts and the alternative media that got Republicans or Trump the most juice were not politics programming. And that people turn into a politics show when they're in a certain kind of mood. I happen to be in that mood all the time. So I want to go out and go for a walk and listen to Pod Save America or whatever, but most people find politics stressful. And they find it grating and adversarial, and they want to hear about wellness, they want to hear about comedy, hear from someone who's doing something interesting, thinking about the world in a different way. And that's why Rogan pops to them, because it didn't originate as a politics podcast. And that is it feels as though that's the only authentic way in with people now, that you have to have the host come to their politics naturally, right? Like Rogan used to love Bernie. Now he's red-pilled. And people went on that road with him. And we need to do that too.
Judge Jeanine Pirro, what are your thoughts?
Well, when I heard Ro Khanna, I should say, and Bernie Sanders and Bill Maher and the whole lot of them about, just saying we didn't listen to the people, we didn't, put enough stock into what the working people needed. Woke is broke and all that other stuff. Fareed Zakaria now saying it was chaos at the border, and Charlemagne the God. Why weren't they saying this stuff during the election? If they can figure it out 2 days later, why couldn't they have said it during the election? Everybody knows, you don't have to be a genius, that working people were hurting, that wages were not keeping up with inflation, that food was off the charts, that people were hurting, living paycheck to paycheck, the country's going in the wrong direction. And these fools actually say, when someone says we got to keep a boy out of girls' sports, and some guy has a breakdown that we just saw and says, no, that's a trans girl or whatever it is, that's not America. America does not buy that nonsense. It just doesn't. All right. The only one who made sense was Raging Cajun. And he's a little kooky, but he knew it all along. It was the preachy females. You're not paying enough focus to the men. He had it down pat. And this Lindy Lou, what's her name? Lindy Lee with the pink dress? Give me a break. I was told by Jen O'Malley Dillon that Kamala was going to win. Are you stupid? Do you go into a casino and say, I was told I was going to win here? How different is a campaign from a casino toss? I mean, really. And then she says she blames somebody else. And this whole thing about Oprah, a billionaire, taking $1 million bucks. Dana, I was furious. The people who wrote a $25 check for Call Your Daddy podcast to set up some kind of a stage. Donald Trump can get into a dump truck and not spend a dime and get more hits than they do. Yep. And finally, how genuine was the support of the celebrities who needed money in order to say something? Did they even vote? I'd be curious to know whether they even bothered to vote.
Yeah.
Well, I think we all speak from experience as having put on town halls here at Fox. They do not cost $1 million for an hour of television. You got fleeced by Oprah Winfrey.
Oh, Ozempic costs a lot. You don't get it on your insurance.
No, I thought it was Weight Watchers.
Remember.
Oh, yeah.
She cheated.
Sorry.
Yo, there we have it, guys. Oh my goodness, the amount of cash they donor money that was ran away with is absolutely absurd. To start hearing those figures and then all the celebrities that came out endorsing Kamala, shaking and singing around, turn to find out they were all bought and paid for. I mean, come on, you guys. That right there tells it all. Like Jesse says, all those folks who donated to that campaign were fleeced, absolutely robbed blind. And that's what I was saying on the front end. I mean, like, oh my goodness, all these folks are upset about the wrong thing. When Jessica says all her friends are texting sad emojis and that's all they got right now because of the outcome of the election, they should actually be sad because of the amount of money that was just a waste on just absolutely nothing. It seemed like nothing got done, a nothing burger of a campaign. Nothing was said, nothing was done, and then the outcome was absolutely nothing. Yo, definitely hop in the comment section and let me know your thoughts. Also, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you enjoy more content like this, catch you guys on the next one. We got it.